Let's be real, if you're watching this, chances are you've been in the NoFap movement for a while now. Maybe you've been obsessing over the day counter, feeling guilty every time you slip up, or find yourself scrolling endlessly on forums, reading others users' posts. But here's the thing, the more that I immersed myself into NoFap, the more I started to see cracks in the approach, and I started to question what the very thing I stood by was actually holding me back from truly quitting P for good. In today's video, I'm going to break down why simply adopting a NoFap mindset might be the very thing holding you back from real lasting recovery. I'm not only going to share what I've learned over the years, but also how to quit P in a sustainable way so you don't stay stuck in a cycle of I'll quit tomorrow or letting months and even years slip without real progress. With all that being said, let's jump right into the video. The first issue that I have with NoFap is the brainwashing. Now look, this can be a double-edged sword for two reasons, all right? So the good thing about it is that yes, it does bring awareness to something that quite frankly is detrimental. Beforehand, when you used to just watch it before you even discovered NoFap and all that, you pretty much just did what you did your business, and you would exit out and continue on with your day, right? You didn't think about it, you didn't feel guilty. You could have done it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day, and it was just something where, okay, you feel tired, you definitely feel the effects of it, but you didn't think it was bad per se. But once you discover NoFap, it's like you take the red pill, you discover a whole new world, and this whole new world basically opens you up to not only the science of why this is something that's a bit detrimental to you, but just just the bro science as well, and seeing exactly how this affects you on deeper levels that you weren't even aware of. So what starts to happen now? Once you start becoming aware of this, anytime that you start watching the content afterwards, you start to become more self-conscious of it. You start to put a bit more shame and a bit more guilt on it, and now the things that you used to view on a normal basis is now viewed through this NoFap lens, depending on how much you have consumed NoFap and whatnot. So for example, a big thing that is talked about in the whole NoFap community is the concept of staying home. Now if you go on any subreddit, if you go on whatever videos or whatnot, staying home is one of those things that is looked at as a death sentence. All right, it's one of those things that you don't want to find yourself in. If you're home alone, try not being home alone and just do anything in your power to not be it, because if you are, you're pretty much screwed. However, when you look at it from a lens that isn't NoFap related, you start to realize that look, nothing is actually wrong with being home alone itself, right? But why are you scared of being home alone? It's because you don't want to watch the videos. You associate being home alone with watching the videos, or it could be anything else. Insert whatever type of thing and you have a new association with it, right? The problem is that once you start creating so many of these associations, you start to almost limit yourself, and it's like you're now stepping on mines. You used to go through your daily life just fine. You were able to go home, stay home alone for 2 hours with no problem. You used to be in your room all day and nothing was a problem. You used to maybe surf through Instagram and nothing was a problem. But now, because you have these new associations, it's like you're stepping on landmines. Every day you're thinking of, oh, okay, can I stay home today? Oh man, my parents are going to be gone. I can't be home alone. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't, you know what I mean? And that just just disrupts your flow of the entire day because you're trying not to actually do it, which is counterproductive to the actual movement of, focus on yourself and, try not to do it and whatnot. And I think that this is ultimately why a lot of people on NoFap have this kind of deep underlying thought of man, life feels better when I didn't discover NoFap. Life feels better when I was just going through my day. And yes, it was obviously detrimental, but it wasn't something that I was pretty much thinking about all the time. If anything, funny enough, when you're on NoFap, it's like you think of corn way more than you actually do when you didn't. When you didn't, you just did it and you went on with your day. You might have looked at some videos, might have looked at some pictures and whatnot. You might have did your session, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to my friend now. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go play basketball. But now it's just like, I don't know, man. I pretty much got to sit the whole rest of the day out because, I'm too scared to do anything. I'm too scared to get out of bed because what if I relapse? Oh man, but hold on. What if I stay in bed too long? Then I might relapse as well, right? You live in this perpetual cycle that pretty much just keeps you from actually living your life. So with that being said, the first actionable step that I'm adding in this video, right, and please, hey, if you want to follow along, do it. I highly recommend it if you're genuinely serious about this, is to first identify a few interpretations that you have. All right, so you could take out a piece of paper, you could put it on a notepad, you can even write it in the comments, whatever it is that you want to put it in, and basically write down, what do you associate with P, right? So for example, you might think of lust. Lust itself, you might associate with P. When, if you were to really look at it, it'd be like, okay, not really. Lust is just energy. But because, we've programmed our minds to watch P so much, we associate lust with P. Same thing with, staying at home, associating with P. You pretty much want to identify these little landmines that you have put in yourself internally. So then what you can do now is you can bring awareness to them and start to question them, start to dive deeper. Okay, why do I associate being home alone with watching P? And then eventually when you can start to really journal this and you'll obviously add more of the actionable steps as we go along the video, then you can start to unlearn these interpretations and be like, okay, so now the next time that you're home alone, you can pretty much just be home alone. You can do your work. You can go watch TV. You can do whatever you want without feeling like you need, or feeling like, corn is pretty much like looming over you, waiting for you to be used, waiting for you to use it, because now, you've removed that. The second problem that I have with NoFap is focusing on the wrong thing. Now, what I mean by this is, I remember when I was heavily involved in the scene, I remember feeling like I just knew a lot of the information. I was consuming lots of content, video-wise, articles, forum pages. I was scrolling there all day. It felt like I knew a lot about this. If you were my friend and you were to ask for help, I felt like I could have told you why this was bad on a physical, on a mental, on a spiritual plane. But even though I knew all of this information, I just couldn't myself help myself. Anytime that I would ask for help, it felt like I was getting very surface level advice. Do 50 push-ups, go for a cold shower, go for a run, do handstands, do the rubber band method. If you guys, the rubber band method is, hey, I remember that one. All these different methods that felt so shallow, right? Like, am I supposed to do 50 push-ups every time I'm triggered for the rest of my life? Am I supposed to do the rubber band method? I don't really think so, right? And that's when I started to slowly realize, as I started to break out of this NoFap bubble, was that I was focusing on the wrong thing this whole time. The reason why I was running this circle and running this loop over and over and over again was because I was viewing P as a problem as opposed to viewing it as a symptom. Now, when I remember hearing this, I was absolutely mind blown. All right, my whole paradigm was shifted because I slowly realized that there was way more that I was missing out information wise that could actually help me overcome this, not only for myself, but eventually for others as well. So it's kind of like that one, it's almost like that one freaking invisible ink that you have, like you can write down and you got the flashlight and you see this whole new world. It's like seeing like an iceberg, you know what I mean? And just seeing like a whole nother layers, deep layers underneath it. Now you have unlocked so much introspection and you realize that, okay, wait, no. I'm not really watching this because I'm actually, in the mood to watch it. That's actually cap. The reason why I'm watching this is because it's actually, I feel low self-esteem, because I feel lonely, because I feel inferior to my peers, right? I feel all these different emotions, and that this is more so an emotional regulation that I'm doing as opposed to something that I'm actually just wanting to watch. If you're actually happy, think about it, right? I want to ask you a question. If you're happy, right? If you're happy talking to your friends, if you're maybe happy doing fulfilling work, if you're hitting a good workout, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Have you ever been like, yeah, I'm feeling really happy. I'm going to go watch some P. I'll be right back, right? Like, no, you're not going to do that. When do you actually want to watch P the most? When you're lonely, right? When you got no one to talk to, when you're bored, when you're feeling anxious, I'm just stressed out. I need to focus on my work, but just let me watch this one time and then I'm going to go back to work, right? It's during these weak moments that we want to watch it. So now that we can identify this, it's like, oh, okay, no, it makes complete sense now. And now we can strip that layer. We pretty much poke holes in our logic because our brain brain is going to rationalize and be like, oh, well, you actually want to watch this, right? No, you don't. This is a cope. Stop coping, right? Like you're simply watching this because you want to cope with something. You don't actually enjoy watching this. So now whenever I see someone that is like on NoFap and whatnot, I see someone that identifies with it, I always just feel so like I just look at it from a different point of view, because it's like, oh man, you know, they might be writing in the comment section, man, I'm done with this. I just relapsed. I'm tired of relapsing. I've been binge relapsing this whole time. It's about to be November 1st tomorrow. I'm done with this, right? I'm done. This is going to be the last time I'm going to do it, right? We always see that. I've been in that bubble. Plenty of times I've said, this is my last time. I'm done with it. Not even 24 hours again, I did it. Oh my God. Besides that, right, like, and why is that? It's because you're attacking it from a surface level point of view. If you was to actually, it's almost like the analogy of like, you know, kicking a tree down repeatedly, right? When you could just take an axe and chop it down, right? You're just not being effective. You're not digging deeper enough. And then all the advice that you get, right? Like, let's say this person does relapse. What advice is he typically met with, right? Oh, just try again. Oh, just try harder, bro. Oh, just do some push-ups next time. You know, these are band-aids. These aren't actual things. We need to actually promote things like journaling, introspection, actually facing your trauma, right? These deeper things are the reasons why you're actually doing it. Finding meaning in your life, right? Having a sense of productivity and energy management, and kind of almost getting your life together in a sense, right? Slowly, of course. Having these things, which are going to take time, of course, are going to, over time, make you want to actually live your life and not want to watch P. The reason why we want to watch P is because we don't want to be in our current lives, right? We want to escape. You watch it to escape. The more and more you slowly start to engage in it, the more that P becomes obsolete in your life, because it's like, well, okay, you know, which one do I want to do right now? Do I want to hang out with my friend? You know, I'm about to go hang out with my friend later tonight. Or do I want to watch some P? I want to hang with my friend, you know, and then you know the rest. So now the second actionable step in this video, right, is going to be adding a new habit, right? So the first thing that you're going to do is add the habit journaling. All right, we want to journal on a consistent basis, because what journaling does is it allows you, especially if you can get in a deep journaling flow, it allows you to really examine your thoughts and dig way deeper than just the surface level venting and whatnot. I heard this from a healthy gamer, GG. He talked about how venting in itself is actually not really a good thing, and that things like journaling and actually doing like physical things like walking, but like you're mentally idle, can actually allow you to process your emotions and by hand your trauma even more. So having this pocketed time to journal, whether it's at nighttime, whether it's in the morning, whatever times works best for you, just simply, you know, setting a time aside every day to journal, write down your progress, write down your bigger things as well. You know, examining, for example, the first prompt that you can ask yourself is, okay, if P is the symptom, then what is the bigger problem in my life? What is causing me to want to watch P that isn't involved with P? Once again, like, think on a more deeper level, and eventually you can work your way up to there, right? And then, you know, over time and whatnot, you can start to realize, oh, okay, I actually do it because of this, this, and that. You start to, you know, you can start working towards that over time, and eventually, like I said, with time, you can start to watch less and less of it. The third and final problem that I have with NoFap is people not thinking bigger. All right, now NoFap should be a tool. Just as with anything else in your life, it should be one of those things where you can utilize it and then you can go on to the next thing, right? This is simply a pit stop. But just as, for example, if we take a minimum wage job, a lot of people take NoFap as the final stop. For NoFap, it is the final thing, just as someone else, maybe a gas station job, is the final thing, when a lot of people view it as a stepping stone. And the problem with this line of thinking is, once again, if you add all the other problems that I talked about previously in the video, you see why this vicious cycle can, once again, actually counterproductively, it can be counterproductive, because now you're not actually, you know, achieving your goal of quitting P, but now instead you're just in this perpetual cycle of wanting to quit P, but in actuality, you're staying stuck in the same place. And the problem is that when a lot of people get on NoFap, not only is it one kind of viewed as a challenge, we see this a lot where it's like, oh, I'm trying this challenge and whatnot, wish me luck, kind of like it's like No Nut November and whatnot. But another thing that people do is that they set these very surface level NoFap related goals. Now, I don't blame them, right, to a certain extent, right? I remember when I first discovered it, and what was the big draw of it? It was the benefits, right? It was the women attraction. Women are going to start looking at you more, and you're going to be more confident. Your social anxiety is going to be gone. You pretty much going to, clear skin. You're build more muscle mass, this and that, more testosterone, right? It's good. And to be fair, like I said, I don't blame you, right? When you see the benefits, you're not looking at the benefits itself. You're looking at a new version of yourself, right? You're thinking of you're envisioning yourself talking to that one girl now. You're envisioning yourself going back to school and everyone looking at you. Your friends are kind of like, man, why do you look different, this and that, right? You're thinking of a new life. And because of this, you set your goals to get that life. And how do you get that life? Through, the benefits, right? So that's why, people are like, okay, I want to achieve day 90 on NoFap so I can get the best benefits possible. I want to get day 7 so I can get the testosterone spike, right? You see all of these different goals being set, but what starts to happen is, funny enough, when you set your goals based on the benefits and on NoFap itself, you don't actually get the benefits that much, if that makes sense. Or if you do get the benefits, what starts to happen is when you relapse, all of it gets wiped out mentally. Even though it really doesn't, you could still talk to women. Truth be told, I remember one time I did my business, right? And not even an hour later, I was talking to girls, right? Me and my friend, we was talking to girls and whatnot. And it was actually good. Like, I actually wasn't thinking about NoFap. I wasn't, oh my God, I just relapsed this and that. No, I was actually like in my element. I was actually normal, And a big reason why I contributed to that is because I don't put that much value on the benefits because that's not my goal. I think the best way to do NoFap is by actually setting self-transcending goals. Now, what are self-transcending goals? Self-transcending goals are goals that are basically bigger than yourself, right? A lot of goals that we set are selfish, which I don't blame, right? I want to reach this certain weight. I want to get this much money. I want to look this way. I want to do this and that, right? It's me, 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 me. However, self-transcending goals are goals that, once again, are involve other people. I want to do this because I want to help out my future family, right? I want to be the best father that I can be for my kids. I want to be the best husband that I can be. I want to be the best friend, boss, this and that, right? So setting these goals, it gives you another layer of purpose, not even motivation. Yes, it's motivation, but it's more so purpose, right? It's kind of like, for example, why single moms work so hard is because they got people to provide for, right? Like, they have someone else in their lives, so they have to work harder. It's the same thing. Now you have to work harder because you're doing it for your future kids. You're doing it for your future community. Maybe you want to retire your parents, right? Because you kind of see the outlook and you're like, yeah, they might not be able to retire. So now you got to go hard for them, right? And setting these goals, these bigger goals, allows you to use the energy that you get from NoFap, because truth be told, I believe that the best benefit that you get from NoFap is the energy. You get more energy, in which you take that energy and now you put it towards your goals, whatever it is. Maybe you want to be a millionaire. Maybe you want to achieve a certain physique that you want, right? Maybe you want to make a certain amount of friends. Maybe you want to get a wife and kids, right? Like, eventually, whatever goals that you have, use NoFap to fuel those goals, as opposed to just setting NoFap related goals. And funny enough, once you actually start setting these real life goals and you start working towards them, right? That's the important part, is working towards them. Is that, funny enough, you start to get the benefits naturally without thinking, right? It's kind of like attracting women, money, whatever it is. The more that you think about it, the more that you start to not really attract it, but the less that you think about it and let it flow in your life, the more that you start to attract it, and the more that it starts to show in your life. The amount of times that I used to wake up and be like, all right, it's day 17. Am I going to get my benefits now? When are my benefits going to come by, right? Like, you start like anticipating it, and you start living for NoFap, when I just think that's such a self-defeating cycle, and honestly sad. I feel like more than ever, people that are on NoFap is the people that I actually feel bad for the most, as opposed to people who are actually watching P who aren't on NoFap, if that makes sense. Which sounds weird, but it's kind of true, because this NoFap cycle, man, it really puts you in this like lonely state, because you feel so much shame and guilt because you're so aware of it now. Now you self-isolate yourself. Now you feel like a loser. Now you feel like you can't talk to people. Oh, oh man, I relapsed. So yeah, I can't talk to this one person until I'm on day 7 again. I used to be this person. From 2020 to 2022, I used to be this person that was just like so jaded in his own circle because it was just like this mental prison that NoFap puts you in, and I just want people to become more aware of this. Like I said, NoFap itself isn't bad per se. Like, even though I'm talking negatively about it, there are benefits for it. Benefits for it. I'm actually grateful that I found it. But I think that if people utilize it in such a toxic way, that it's just it provides much more negative effects. It's much more detrimental than it actually is positive. Like, a question that I always kind of ask people is like, would you rather be 1,000 days on NoFap clean, but you're constantly thinking about NoFap and whatnot, and you're still in the NoFap cycle? Or would you rather be 90 days clean? Let's just say like 90-ish days, right? Because we don't count. So let's say you're like around 3 months-ish clean, but you're not thinking about NoFap. You're focused on your life and this and that. I'd take the 3 months-ish as opposed to the 1,262 days, because I'm not thinking about NoFap, right? You're not in that mental cycle. You're more freer. Is freer even a word? I think it is, right? Who knows? But I think it is a word. I don't know why I'm tweaking out on this so much. You're much more freer. And because of that, like, you have much more mental space to actually create a better life for yourself, as opposed to just thinking about a life that you have right now, or rather a loss, right? And I think that's just like another thing that, NoFap can do for you. So the final actionable step that I have for this video is writing down your self-transcendent goals. Okay, like, once again, it could be in the paper that you've been previously using. It could be in the comment, notepad, whatever it is. Write down your self-transcending goals, right? I'd probably say like 1 to 3 like meaningful, real goals that you want to achieve. You can write them all out, and then you can like cross-eliminate them if you really need to. But for the most part, keep it to like 1 to 3 like really self-transcending goals that you want to do. Find that kind of why, right? Like, that's essentially what it is like, why am I doing this? It could be for even quitting pee. It could be, once again, for achieving a certain goal that you want to do, whether it's like, once again, money or fitness or status, whatever it is, right? Reminding yourself constantly on a daily basis, whether it's in the morning. It don't got to be something long, right? But just reading it out in the morning and whatnot, it allows you to kind of focus yourself for the rest of the day, and kind of have that vision of, okay, what am I doing this for? Who am I doing it for? And kind of like moving accordingly now. And honestly, once again, doing it something that is bigger than NoFap. Thank you so much for watching this video, bro. I hope this sincerely helped you out. This is a topic where, I ain't gonna lie, this is something that I had in the vault for a long time, something that I really wanted to touch upon, and I sincerely hope it helped. Comment down the trophy emoji if you made it this far, and you actually not only just made it this far, but if you actually did the actionable steps in the video. Once again, I want to start adding these actionable steps. I kind of want to like make these video essays still like interactable, if that kind of makes sense, and actually having that purpose, actually helping people out. And once again, I hope that this really genuinely can help you out and whatnot. If you're in that NoFap cycle, I know that can be really toxic. Hope you can break out of it and just live a better life, NoFap free and pee free. All right, so thank you so much, bro, and I will see you in the next video, man. Peace.